Hi, Dr. Cranky's here again. I remember we had this tube with the hole in it. If you can't get hold of a new tube, you might have to patch this one, or you put the new one in and you patch this so you've got the spare one. Right, so remember we pumped this up, we put it in water and they found the bubbles. Now we've got to figure out how to patch it. What I do once I've found the hole, put a cross on it, but also you can put a big square around with these marks, because when you go to place the patch it's hard to remember where the hole was. So put a cross on it, but you can also put some arrows to show where it is. Alright, so it's still, I don't know if you can see that. We've made some arrows on it. We'll deflate it now. So completely deflate it. Sometimes it will be completely deflated because it's a bigger hole, but for these little holes you'll need to let the air out before you start patching it. And what can we find? There it is. We can find where it is. We'll let a little bit more air out of this one. It's just flat, a bit of place where we know where the patch is. Here's the patch kit. Comes with a bit of rubber solution, a vulcanizing solution, a couple of patches, more patches, and you've got to choose the right size patch for you. So we'll use one of these, and it's got a little bit of sandpaper in here as well. So we've got the solution, got some patches, a little scratch pad. Sandpaper will work. These things are for the old French, so not French valves, bicycle valves or European valves. So you don't really use them at all. You're not really needed because you won't come across them very often. And some of them will have these type of patches as well, slightly smaller ones. Yep. And that probably works better for these little pin holes. So if you've got these are for bigger holes. You can still use it, but it's probably better to try one with it. It's easier to patch with the correct size patch. So we come back to our hole there. Yep, get one ready. So you can just rip that through. So first of all you have to make sure it's completely dry. The surface is completely dry and free of dust. Patch that up. So it's nice and rough. And then we're adding the solution. This one here, you'll have to use, well that's already open, but use a little pin prick there to open that up. You don't need a big hole. Only a little hole, and you don't want to apply too much. So as we put this on, use the top of it to spread it out nice and evenly across a bigger area than the patch. Alright, so the patch is only this big and we're going around it, so we need some room. Yep. And we can see these, that's the hole there. Alright. I'm going to leave that. You can see at the moment that's pretty wet. Yep, you want to make sure it's tacky and a bit dry, or fairly dry before you put the patch on. So leave that till it goes dry before you put the patch on. And there we go, that's almost dry now. And that's when you put the patch on. So you rip that off there. I'll show you again. There's a little the backing. Yep, and you rip that from the back. Yep. Make sure you keep that nice and clean, and then you center it on where your hole was. And I like to rub it on. Bit of heat and pressure. Yep. And can we tear this back? Yep, you'll know what's on if you can just tear that off. See that little plastic backing? Or just leave it on. Not coming off. That's ready to go. Now we check to see if it's pumped up. So now that it's pumped up, check to see if the patch is working. So I always like to inflate it. There's our patch. You can see that's holding quite well, so we've patched the tube. So the things to remember are make sure it's dry and clean. Scratch the surface. When you put the glue on, nice and even and spread. Let it dry. Let it dry before you put this patch on. Right. So if it goes on wet, sometimes doesn't hold. The reaction doesn't work. So let it dry, or at least till it's really, it's tacky, and then you put that on, rub it on, and then we're off and going. And so I'd keep that. I'd deflate that. That's my spare tube now. Keep it, attach it to the bike underneath the saddle, and take it with you, or keep it at home if you want. But then you've got that spare tube. You can put that in when the other one gets flat and patch the other one. So much cheaper. A new tube will cost you $10. A patch kit only costs you $2. You can patch 10 tubes with it. So once you've learned how to do this, you're going to save yourself a lot of money. So we're off and going. We know how to patch a tube. Have a good ride. See ya.